Hello. Just wanted to introduce you to your third project, which I'll just share with you now. I'll share the screen. Here we go. Just get it up. View presentation. So hopefully you can all see that. So this is your third project, and it's 3 weeks long, and its project title is the BFI, which is the British Film Institute Type and Grids Project. Module GR221. So this project is a 3-week project and is designed for print, and it's an exercise to refresh and build upon your understanding of typography, grid systems and page layout. So very much building upon the Type and Grids project forefront from the first semester. A good solution to this problem will provide you with a good piece for your folder. The following presentation is designed specifically to support this project, outlining what is required and where. So a lesson plan is in here as well. Please refer back to this film at any point during the process. So here we are, the BFI, as I said before, the British Film Institute. I'll give you a brief history. The British Film Institute is a film and television charitable organisation which promotes and preserves filmmaking and television in the United Kingdom. It was founded in 1935, with a key part of its remit is to maintain a national repository for film of permanent value. The BFI maintains the world's largest film archive, containing more than 50,000 fiction films and over 100,000 non-fiction titles, and also 625,000 television programmes. The majority of the collection is British material, but it also features international significant holdings from around the world. I don't know if you've been to London, but the BFI is situated on the South Bank, and here it is, a picture of it. We're also, in 2010, the BFI secured funding from the government to build a new state-of-the-art, environmentally sustainable and architecturally pioneering film storage facility in Gaydon, allowing the long-term preservation of all the master film collection. So there we go. So let's get down to the brief, shall we? So the BFI intends to create a limited edition box set featuring 50 of the greatest films in cinematography history. Now, to accompany this unique curated set of films, there will also be a large format, limited edition coffee table book, retailing at around £500. This book will profile the backstories of each film director, as well as taking an in-depth look at how each individual film came into being. You've all been allocated one of these 50 classic films, or you will be. That'll be done at random by the tutors. And you're asked to design a minimum of 2 up to 4 DPSs, double page spreads, based around the given film. These spreads will then combine to go into making up the complete collection that features in the coffee table book. Your target audience? Well, the recipients of this box set of films and publication are true aficionados, true film buffs. They love their film. All types of film, all genres of film. They want to know about all aspects of film history, of our film's history and its making. Therefore, this book needs to contain content that is true, that a true film enthusiast would want to know. So the people, nerds in a kind of way, trivia buffs about film. They just love film. Now the grid. Well, for consistency, the BFI in-house design team have created a flexible grid system for you to use, based on the aspect ratio of a 35mm cinema film. See template provided. So we'll be providing you with an InDesign template of the grid based on the BFI's in-house team's grid system. And this is roughly what it looks like. So as you can see, it's based on the film sprocket of a 35mm film. And it's got 12 columns on it, 12 column grid across double pages. And the running order, well, we suggest that maybe this is how it possibly runs. It's very simple, really, from right to left. So your first spread would have a profile of the director, an introduction to the film, and then you'd have content about the film on the other 3 spreads. So it's generally a very kind of, and if people stick to that kind of format, then it should also be quite consistent. I've got an example here of one. This is a film called The Night of the Hunter, and this basically works on on that basis of the profile of the director. So you have the profile of the director on one side and a short history of what he did and things like that. I'll come on to that, and then basically into the film itself. So that's an example of how that grid could be used. Typefaces and type families. Well, to ensure a little consistency, the BFI in-house team have stipulated that you use American Typewriter as one of your family of fonts. However, you're free to also use any other font or font families that you think might be relevant and suit your film. These should and will come through your research. So say example. So for the example there, a bit of research into this film. The typeface I've used for Good and Evil on that side was on the film poster. It's a gothic horror film, and the typeface seemed to fit. Now, depending on what kind of film you get, there'll be some kind of typefaces that will fit the look of it. But make sure it's a family, maybe that's got quite a few different weights in it. But we'll talk to staff about that as well. But you should, at second year, you should be really getting a feel really for typefaces and what is relevant and appropriate and what isn't. Right, a guide to research and content. So, number one, the film. Well, we recommend you do this in the following sequence. Number one, source and watch the film, but come to it cold. Chances are you've probably never seen the film, but you might have done just by sheer chance, but we're pulling out the hat. But number one, watch the film and come to it cold. Then number two, then do some reading up on it and get to know about it. Don't do it the other way around. I think it's important to watch the film first, watch it cold, then read about it and get to know all about it. Do some research on the web and read as much as you possibly can about the film. Number three, then watch it again. Now this will mean that you're watching it with more of a knowledgeable eye and a deeper understanding. And it should make a little bit more sense. Also, this time have a pen and paper at hand to take notes. It's important to take notes. Number four, also watch any related documentaries about the making of the film. Watch the film's trailers, any filmed interviews with the director or the actors or people behind the scenes. There is a lot of information online now about these films, I would imagine. Talking to their director, talking to the cast and the trailers and whatever. So really, that's other kind of film medium you can watch as well. Again, have a pen and paper together to take notes. Now the copy, you're going to need copy. Unlike the first year one where we said you could use lorem ipsum or what they call body copy. With this one, we want you to use actual copy. So Jaws is actually one of those that is actually on the list. So when researching into your film, we want you to identify and lift relevant copy. Nobody's asking anybody to actually write anything here. It's about lifting, copying and pasting copy that you find about the film, what people have said about the film, what reviews on Wikipedia, what the plot is, etc. Lifting it from a variety of sources, then editing it down to suit your own needs to use in your spreads. Now that's where the art of it is, in editing it. Read up on the background of the film, the script, the plot. Was it adapted from a book, screenplay, etc.? Gather quotes about the film from the director, maybe, or the cast or the critics. Is there any classic dialogue from the film or classic quotes? We're going to need a bigger boat. Research into the profile of the director, their background, their history, and insights into their working methods. Thoughts on the medium of film, and also an insight into their working practices. What did the critics say about the film? How was it received? Was it an instant success, or did it become a cult classic over time? All this information is out there, and you can copy and paste that into a document to use later. Imagery. Well, imagery, obviously, film and cinematography is a highly, highly visual subject area. So when researching into film, we want you to identify and lift relevant imagery from a variety of sources, then edit them down to suit your needs and using your spreads. So you're doing exactly the same two things with the copy and the imagery. When collecting visual reference to a film, identify classic scenes from the film, iconic stills or sequences, screen grab things from it yourself. Look at the film title sequences for any iconic imagery. Some of these films have iconic film title sequences. What did the original film poster look like, or lobby cards look like? Promotional casting photographs of the main characters. Are there any behind the scenes or location shots or imagery to do with that? Is there a director's cut? Any unseen footage or imagery? Something that basically a film buff would want to see in the spreads. Note, we suggest you initially screen grab your imagery then you can run it through Photoshop, clean it up a little bit. Otherwise, check out the library and see if there's any books on these film directors. There definitely will be for people like Hitchcock and Kubrick. But, you know, grab your imagery from wherever. The higher quality, the better. But there should be a lot of imagery out there to do with every single one of these films. Just some other questions to ask yourself when researching. Unusual facts about making the film. What exactly has made it a classic film within its genre? Was there anything groundbreaking cinematography about it? Were there any special effects were used or either reference from previous directors? You'll find that basically a lot of film directors, like a lot of designers, basically will pay homage to other film directors. Everybody's sort of standing on the shoulders of giants when it comes to this sort of thing, really. But within this field, you will find film directors who are true pioneers. But basically, it's important to find these things out about the film as well. Where was it filmed? Was it filmed on a location or shot in a studio or both? Did it have any special effects? A special set built? As I say, title sequence, what was it like? Was there any unusual groundbreaking musical score or soundtrack to the film? The cast, who starred in the film? Were they already acclaimed performers? Or did this particular film break actors onto the main stage? And did it win any awards, or was it acclaimed or not? As I said, did it become a cult classic? So this is a sort of outline of the 3-stage lesson plan. It's a 3-week project. I won't go into reading this completely because there's a lot of text there, but it's on the brief, it's on this presentation, but I want you to read it in your own time. But essentially week 1 is watching the film 2 times, as we said, researching, reading, collecting imagery, understanding what is probably images you want to use from it and copy you want to use, things that are interesting. So very much a gathering exercise within that week 1, but also at the same time sketching some little scamps on the grid, which will provide you with some little things to sketch on as well. So it's important you do that before you go to the machine and start basically doing your spreads, as you well know from semester 1. Nothing worse than going and sat there in front of a blank screen not quite knowing what you're going to do. So those little thumbnails will give you enough indication just to get you started. So week 2 then is really about the design of it, really getting into the meat of it, really, and designing and a lot of running out, I've thought as well. The format of this is quite large, so therefore you'll need to tile it. So it'll come a couple of times, week 2 definitely, where you'll need to basically run it out a few times and stick it together in black and white just to see what it looks like. But it mentions this in the copy there in the lesson plan. And then week 3 again, refining up until the deadline of the final kind of presentation. And hopefully, we'll be able to run it on our new large format printer as well. If not, in the library as well. I know a lot of you ran your forefront out on the big banner printer. That's still hopefully in use. I think it is. So yeah, but that's a lesson plan for that. These are the films. You'll be getting one of these films, not necessarily out of the hat, but we will choose them at random for you. And then so it's done for you, so you don't have to basically I don't know which one to do. They're all classic films, and hopefully, basically, the great thing about this project is you'll be introduced to a film as well as actually learning from typing grids as well. There's a lot more reference on the MIPS module information pack and actually on the brief. These are just a few that are hyperlinked. Mainly, this is the film reference that I found, but there's loads more. But the BFI, Art of the Title is a good one as well. The Criterion collection is really good as well. So they should be able to hyperlink those. And finally, please turn on your mobile phones, sit back, relax, and enjoy the film. So hopefully, that's it really.